broadcasting the best of retro and modern gaming, with your hosts, the incomparable Dinky Dana, and myself, John Peel of Maincade. Welcome to Hit Reset Radio.
Dinky, can you believe it? We're back.
I know, it's been a while. What is it, probably half a year?
Has it been that long?
I think it has.
Holy cow. Holy cow. But it feels good to be talking to you again, and I can't wait to get into this episode of the podcast for Hit Reset Radio. How many people actually responded to our giveaway?
We got a lot. I have them all on a list here. We'll go over that a little bit later. We'll draw a winner. For those of you who didn't see our video, we're doing a giveaway this episode for our return. Yeah, we got 630 people who left a comment. Yeah, so of course some of those are duplicates, you know, the video responses and stuff, but that's a lot of people.
I think that was pretty good.
Yeah, I'm wondering who's gonna win. It's probably someone with a name that I won't be able to say. I know it.
Well, everybody on YouTube has very clear, concise names. What are you talking about? Dinky Dana. There's someone called I think we saw.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to be back doing this, man. It feels good.
Yeah. So we'll do that later on. And I wanted to know, man, what have you been up to?
I picked up BioShock Infinite. It's freaking awesome.
It's great, huh?
Yeah, I've already beaten it 3 times. That's how good it is.
Why doesn't that surprise me?
Yeah, I went through the first time and I played the regular on hard mode. And then when you beat that, you can unlock 1999 mode. And not only that, with the achievements, I like to get all the achievements for the game. So there's an achievement that you can't buy any items from any of the machines. So I had to, of course, do that. So it was pretty tough going through on the 1999 mode. I don't know what you heard about the game. Did you hear much about it?
A little bit. I know that it's set in the clouds, and I thought when I first heard that, I said, how are they going to pull that off? And when I saw some of the video footage, I thought, wow, that looks really good. And then, of course, when I saw some reviews, I was impressed. I wanted to hear what you had to say about your first impressions of it, but obviously you love it.
Yeah, I mean, I played BioShock 1, and I really liked that. And then I heard from people that 2 wasn't quite as good. I did buy it, but I never ended up beating it. And I wasn't going to buy this one day one, because I hadn't been playing games a ton. TV and Lust put up an unboxing video, and I always think unboxing videos. Usually I always wonder, oh, nobody's going to actually buy it because you just showed what's in it.
Yeah, right.
But I totally did. I watched that video, and I was like, I should definitely buy this game. And I wanted the limited edition one, so I called up GameStops, but it was the day of release. So none of them had it. And I ordered it and sent overnight shipping on Amazon.
Wow.
So yeah, and I didn't even know how good it was going to be. I saw that it was getting really high ratings, and that kind of helped me buy it too on like game rankings. Like my 2 favorite games this generation are probably Super Mario Galaxy 2 and Dark Souls.
Yeah. Total
opposites.
Yeah,
but
complete spectrum.
Man, I honestly am not sure whether I like BioShock Infinite or Dark Souls more.
Well, how many hours did it take you to finish BioShock?
The first time through, I played it on the hard mode. It took like 12 or 13 maybe.
Wow.
So I mean, it's not super long, you know,
Yeah.
and it's one of those games where you'll just keep playing. I mean, you can't put it down.
I can't imagine spending 12 hours on a game. Like, I can't. Not in my life. That's insane. I love it. I can't spend 12 minutes.
You could beat it.
Yeah,
you could beat it. Or the other thing is, I'm recording a playthrough. That's why I'm playing through it the 3rd time. I'm recording it. I don't know if you knew, I always had this YouTube channel called Dinky Dana Plays.
Yep.
And I never put anything up on it because you can only put 10-minute videos. I think I put one video of like Contra on there or something. But now that I have this capture device and I can put long videos on there, I've been doing that. So I've been putting halfway through the BioShock, and I put up, my cousin and I were playing Battle Block Theater, and it's a downloadable game for Xbox Live. It's made by the same people as Castle Crashers.
Okay, I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah, and I really like Castle Crashers, so, I mean, if anyone's played Castle Crashers, they'll probably like this game. I don't think this was quite as good as Castle Crashers, but I put the whole gameplay up there, and there are just some moments in that video where we're just howling. It's so funny, because you play co-op, and you have to, like, throw each other across ledges and stuff, and you could totally kill your partner and stuff, and you could play 4 people, so it was a lot of fun, but definitely recommend that one too.
I'm looking at some screenshots of it right now. This looks really cool.
Yeah, and at some point, if you have like an hour or something, I should have you play it with me, and just go through
Well,
it for a little bit.
I was thinking of your Dinky Dana plays. I should put some of my videos on that because I never survive longer than 10 minutes. So any video of a game I'm playing will fit just
Oh
fine.
yeah.
Probably room to spare, room for ads.
One more thing about the BioShock Infinite is it may be one of the best endings of any video games. It's so good.
Really?
Yeah, it's a really good ending, and that's part of the reason why the game is so good.
Good ending that it's ended, or there's another spin-off popping off of this one?
I could see them making more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could definitely see them making more, which is good because this one was awesome. So
Well, I'll have to watch your video eventually when you do your playthrough because I'll never get to it.
yeah, that's what you
I
should
will
do. Yeah.
never see the ending on my own skills.
But
Nice.
yeah, what about you? Anything cool going on over the
Well,
past 6 months?
Yeah. Well, besides the personal family stuff, other
Yeah.
than that, I'm trying to get right back into where I left off. So I decided to like spend some money on equipment to try to up the ante in the quality of the filming. So I bought myself a new camera. It's a DSLR camera. It's a Canon T3i, which has like really good video footage as well as being a great camera. So I got that. I got my tripod set up, and I actually invested some money in getting a lapel mic. You know, those mics that you see the people on TV with the pack that's attached to their belts.
Yeah.
I got one of those, and the idea is I could walk around eventually and finally do my pinball reviews and not be limited to having to walk around with a microphone or using the tinny microphone on a camera.
Yeah, because that's wireless, right?
Yeah, no,
So you
it's
just- yeah.
it's wireless, but of course, you know, when I end up spending the money for these items, I usually go overboard. You know, I just can't buy a cheap one, so I end
Yeah.
up buying the like one of the most expensive ones, and the reason why I bought it is because it comes with a dual pack. So, for instance, if you and I were doing an interview in the same room, you can have one, I can have one, and it goes in the same machine. Problem with that is the connection to the camera, you need another box, and I had to buy a special connector box. It ended up at the end of the day costing me way more than I wanted to. I have yet to actually put it together. And what's weird is after I got all that, I said, you know what? Something's missing. You know what I bought, Dinky? I bought a teleprompter.
Oh, did you?
I bought a teleprompter, and I don't think I'm ever going to use any of this equipment because this is what happens. But
I could see you using it.
well, I have a lot of ideas, but if I ever implement them, I don't know. But what's cool about this teleprompter is it's a special kind of a two-way glass mirror, and you just put your iPad on the bottom, and you upload any file you want into this app that then plays a slow scroll, kind of like the Star Wars,
Yeah.
but in reverse, so that it reflects off the mirror. And you could read the mirror, and then you put your video camera behind the mirror because it's like a two-way mirror, and it actually films you through the glass that you don't see the camera, and that's why you stare right at it. The camera is behind the glass. It's very
yeah,
cool
that's cool.
setup. Yeah, it's a very cool setup. And the app is really cool because you can write up stuff on Google Docs and import it as well as, you know, normally importing it. So you could be anywhere and just write stuff in Google Docs and then export it right to it.
So I should say, when is this going to get implemented? But I know the first video that you have that you stare in one spot the entire time. I know. I'd be like, all right, he got that working now.
He looks like a zombie.
Yeah.
He's a deer caught in the headlights.
Oh man, yeah, that'll be good though. So you
this-
got all kinds of high tech stuff.
I got lots of cool stuff. I mean, I wanted to actually make a video of the stuff because
Do
it's
it.
really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just for people who are interested, the video lapel, the lapel mics are a Shure SHURE microphone set. Comes with two of them, and it has a whole bunch of channels so that there's no interference. Tried it out. It actually works. It sounds really good, but I haven't made a video of it yet.
Couldn't I have one of those and be talking to people, but have the camera way far back?
Yeah, you can have somebody walking with you way back. In fact, it's funny. I saw a guy make good use of this. He is a real estate agent. You know, he's trying to show that he's a great real estate agent. So he's driving a fancy car, and he's like in a sports car. So what he did was he had someone else in another car, like right alongside of him, and they were filming from car number 2. And he's talking as he's driving in a convertible. And it sounds great. And obviously there's no wires on him. And it sounds like you're right there because he's close enough to be picked up by the camera. I was like, that's a great use of it. You know, he's driving on the highway, talking about the neighborhood. I don't think I'll come up with anything fancy like that, but we'll see what I do with this. I'm curious.
Go to a flea market once.
Go to a flea market.
Have your
Yeah.
wife go and record you from like 20 feet away. Oh, that's one of the things. I mean, it was always weird because it was really hard to get footage. People would always watch my videos and they say, why are you holding your camera down at your side? I'm like, yeah, I'm holding my camera at my side so I don't have a red dot like in people's faces. So I
Yeah.
got to be somewhat secretive about it. And then now I have on my game or on my phone, my brother's wife got me a Game Boy cover. So my iPhone cover is a Game Boy now. And I can't walk around with that because then everybody looks at it. You can't point that at them. So when I go out to the flea markets, I have to actually take the cover off if I want to record anything. But
just spend $1,500 and get on Google Glass.
yeah,
And walk around the flea market with your Google Glass. Record everything.
yeah, without them knowing.
You can't go into a casino with any of those. They'll throw you out of a casino.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah, they're picky about that stuff. They won't even let you take pictures in a lot of them out in Vegas.
I got thrown out in Vegas because I took a picture of a slot machine. They threw me out.
Yeah. So, anything else you've been up to?
Well, I'm looking at the stuff in the news that's been coming out about Xbox One lately.
Yeah. I watched that conference.
What did you think of it? I thought they really dropped the ball on a lot of stuff. I was shocked.
Yeah. Overall, I would say it's more disappointing than good. They did say beforehand that they were specifically not going to mention a bunch of the games, so I wasn't expecting a ton with that.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, all this stuff with the voice activation and, being able to use your hands and stuff to interact with the console, I'm not really big into that. I mean, I actually I don't think I'd ever use that. I don't know. It's just one of those things that they're focusing on it so much, and so much of their presentation was about interacting with your voice and your hand motions, and I just don't really see it. So, I mean, I don't know. What did you think about that stuff?
I think it's creepy. This camera has to be plugged in all the time, listening to everything you say, just in case you say Xbox One on to turn on. What else are you listening to? I mean, honestly, do you think that's all they're ever going to listen to? And it becomes a security issue and privacy issue. Like we just talked about the Google Glass, where you can be recorded at any moment and you don't know someone's recording you. If they have the stupid glasses on, you don't know if they're looking at you just to talk to you or record you. And is this where we're going now, where you really don't have any sense of privacy of yourself anymore? It's scary.
Yeah, it's like, how hard would it be that you have to press a button to turn it on? Then the then the Kinect would work.
Yeah, and we're just becoming a lazier nation. It's crazy.
Well, that's the other thing. A while ago, there was the issue with Xbox was talking about for, what was it, pay-per-view type stuff, like UFC fights, where you would pay for the amount of people that were going to watch, and then the Kinect was going to be able to judge how many people were in the room, and if you paid for 4 people watching, and there were 5 people in there, it would shut off. And it's like, I mean, that's kind of creepy, being able to, people being able to see how many people you have in the room. It's like, I don't want people looking at me.
It's going to be like when you throw the sheet over the parrot cage so the parrot calms down. People are I'm going to make a Kinect parrot kind of veil that you throw over it so it doesn't watch you.
Yeah, and you'll have to soundproof it.
It's insane.
Yeah, it is kind of weird. I could see a lot of the features being cool. I don't like the voice or anything like that, but having this stuff be able to snap on the side, I think is cool. I probably wouldn't use it, but for like fantasy football, that'd be neat.
Right.
The other thing that I did think was cool, well, Xbox was always good playing online with people. When I play with my cousin and we just start up a private party and we chat. So Skype's going to be incorporated directly into the console, which I think is going to be pretty usable because I use Skype for everything.
Yeah, so do we. Right now we're using Skype, aren't we?
Yeah, and even like when if you check out that Battle Block Theater footage that I put up, I record my cousin in my voice, and basically we just use Skype to do that. We don't even record it through the Xbox because it's just easier using Skype and the quality's really good. Mm-hmm. So I think that's going to be neat. I also like how they're incorporating all the media stuff because I don't even buy cable anymore. I just use Netflix, Hulu, and stuff like that. So they said they're going to have football packages. I hope they get hockey. I would love that because that's the only thing that I would actually get cable for is football and hockey. So,
well, I don't have cable. I have like satellite dish. I don't know if that's going to work with this.
I don't know how they're going to get it all set up. I mean, I don't have cable, so I didn't pay too much attention to it, but pretty sure it's going to be an HDMI in. You take your cable box into there through HDMI, and then it can capture and control it all from there.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So I still need my cable box,
Yeah.
and then the cable box goes to the new Xbox, and then whatever.
Yeah, unless you're doing like the football thing, there that's going to be like just an online package where you could order football, things like that.
Right.
So it's cool that it's going to be a big media device and everything's going to be in one. But I mean, hey, I want to play games. You know, that's what an Xbox is for.
Well, that's
If
the
I
big
want to,
question. Yeah, what
yeah,
are we talking about games wise? A lot of people are still waiting on the games, and I suspect they're holding off for the E3 conference, which may or may not be going on as you listen to this podcast. But I'm curious to see, and it's going to be a great gaming console. It has to be, right?
yeah, and they specifically said before this convention or this conference at all, they said we're not going to show any games really. I mean, this is not going to be for games, which I mean, an unveiling of a console, that's I don't know if that's exactly the best idea. It kind of irritates me. You show this brand new console the first time and you don't show any games for it. But there were a whole bunch of issues with people complaining about how they're a lot of people think it has to be online at all times. Like if you're gonna play games, you have to be online no matter what. I was reading up on it, and that's not exactly how it's gonna work. They're gonna have online games that you would need to be online for all the
Mm-hmm.
time, and then they're also gonna have single player games where you could play through them, but when they do need updated, then you'd have to come online to get the new updates, which is exactly how it is now.
Yeah, that's
You know?
true.
So, but and then they also said they're gonna have fees for used games, which was a big issue.
A huge issue. That's
Yeah.
like one of the biggest problems. This whole conference, I don't think was geared for the gamers. I think it was geared more for investors saying, hey, this is what we're going to do. We'd like to show you what our glitzy little project is. Yeah, now the games, let's talk about that now. So you buy a game and it attaches to your console with a key, and that's it. You can't give it to anybody else unless they pay for our rights.
Yeah, I was looking into it, and how it works is I'd go out to the store and buy a $60 game, and I would come home, and every game is gonna need to be installed on your console.
On that console.
So you
they
can't
become
play it. Yeah, you
linked.
can't play it straight from the disc, and yeah, it'll become linked to that gamer tag or that profile.
Okay.
So if I buy it and then I send you the disc, you wouldn't be able to play that game unless you pay another fee to be able to use it on another gamer tag.
And we're paying this directly to Microsoft, so
Yeah.
we're bypassing the whole GameStop, GameFly system.
Yeah.
Cuts them out completely. We don't know at what rate the secondhand gamer was going to pay for this.
Yeah, that's going to be the big question because look at it in a few situations. Okay, let's say I go out and buy a $60 game and I could send it to you and you could install it for a $20 fee, 2 weeks later or something. Then that would be useful because you'd be getting a discount. But I'm assuming that Microsoft would probably try and control the price and it would raise and lower depending on the popularity of the game, how long it's been out, stuff
Yeah.
like that. Kind of like how GameStop is. The other question is, okay, let's say I have a kid who wants to play the same game that I bought. Let's say 3 kids, and you go out and buy a game for $60. Are they really going to charge you $50 for each?
Well, you're
Extra
probably going to
account?
have to pay for like a family pack where you have to link it with 3 different accounts for just a few dollars more, but they guarantee it's the same house by the internet connection, the IP address maybe, or something.
Yeah, it could be by the Xbox. The other thing with that is too, everybody always hates GameStop because they go in and they gouge you on prices. They give you like $5 for a used game and then charge 35.
They just have the worst reputation. Everybody hates them.
And I'm wondering with this because they announced that they're going to have a system. They didn't go into a ton of detail, but basically what they say they're going to have is an online marketplace, basically, where if I buy the game, I could trade in my license to the game to another online player, or in this online marketplace, I could just get a trade-in value, which could be really cool if they keep up decent pricing.
Right.
Because, I mean, that's what people do. They go into GameStop and they trade it in for $5 or $10. Where if Xbox is doing it for 20, they'd be getting some money back for their games. And all the money is going back into the industry rather than GameStop siphoning all this money from all the developers and everything. So I think it's really going to depend on how the price is based on Microsoft, which is probably not going to be good. But it has the potential to be good, at least, I guess.
Yeah, you think they're going to reveal how that's going to work in E3? Because the system is going to come out this year, at the end of this season.
Yeah, I don't think they're really going to go into that. I think they're going to only try and show games at the actual E3 conference.
Well,
which would be
That's a
awesome.
site. Yeah, that'll be very welcome. A lot of people are really questioning what their game plan is. Did you hear that the Wii U shot up in sales like 800% after the Xbox One conference?
No, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, that like sales in Japan shot up and in US too because supposedly people were so disgusted with the fact that games weren't really mentioned and all this connectivity issues that there was a big spike in the sales of the Wii U.
That's crazy. I'm still waiting for good stuff to come out on the Wii U, which they keep saying like they have stuff lined up, but I mean I don't know. I want something. I want to use it. And then also Nintendo's not really gonna even have a conference at E3. They're doing a bunch of those Nintendo Direct presentations.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of those. Weird. Don't you think they're kind of weird?
Yeah, I mean they get the news out there. They get everything announced how they should. I mean, you got to have something at E3. I mean, I don't know. I just can't believe that they're not going to show anything. Hopefully they show some awesome game that makes up for it, like an HD Super Mario Galaxy, which I know they won't though.
Well, we all know that the Wii's power is the game simplicity and not so much its graphics capability. Obviously, it can't really hold a candle to the other two consoles. So maybe they don't want to really go toe to toe with those talking about games because they're kind of weak on that. But if we drip and drab what we want to tell you, in a controlled environment, before and after, you might not put them on the same level and you might just think of it in a different perspective.
Yeah, and their E3 conferences have been horrible.
Yeah, they don't have a good track record.
Yeah, so I don't know. But I heard that they are going to be doing a remake of, I don't know if it's actually going to be a sequel, but they're another in the form of the Super Nintendo version, Link to the Past.
Ooh.
It's going to be on the 3DS. And I don't know much about it. I don't know whether it's going to be a direct sequel or something, but it's going to be in that style. And it's going to be awesome.
Nice.
So, yeah, that'll be cool for Nintendo.
Okay.
So, I don't know. We'll have a lot to talk about next month with all the E3 stuff. Hopefully, it'll be some good stuff.
Yeah, I'd like to get out there one day.
Oh, I know. Me too.
There was a point when I was getting Game Developer Magazine subscriptions. I subscribed to it. And for some reason, they thought I was a real legitimate game developer. And for that year, I could have gotten into E3. And I didn't take advantage of it. I forgot what came up.
Oh, you should have.
So I think I'll get another subscription to that magazine.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. You're always getting weird stuff.
Isn't that true?
You're always getting like the YouTube preview features and Google's inviting you in and all kinds of stuff.
I haven't heard from my friends at Google in a while. I think I might have pissed them off or something.
Now that you're talking about them.
Yeah, they're listening. They're always listening.
Oh, man. All right. So, what do you want to go into next here?
Well, let's see. Now, we had a whole bunch of people give us comments on our channels for the giveaway, and we had a couple of video responses also, didn't we?
Yeah. Yeah, we could do that. Here, let me pull these up.
Okay.
What should we do? Should we draw a winner first or listen to a question?
Why don't we let's listen to a question first. I want to hear a question.
Okay. All right. This one was from a video response. He left it right on our Hit Reset Radio channel from Kiyoshi Ballard. So here, I'll play that right now.
Hey guys, Kayosho here. I'm very glad to hear Hit Reset Radio is coming back, as I really enjoyed the podcast. And, it's been a while, and I don't really remember what kind of segments you guys had. I remember I really enjoyed the podcast, but I don't really remember specific segments. So I thought I would suggest one to you. A segment that is where you go into your experiences with either a specific console, a specific developer, or a specific game series. I really like the nostalgia type stuff, and your podcast is pretty good for that. And I'm sorry I don't have a camera, but, there you go.
I like that. He's like, I remember your podcast is good. I just don't remember any specific segments at all because it's been a little too long.
I don't know what I like about your podcast, but yeah.
All right, Kiyoshi. Yeah, that was a good video response, and it worked out pretty well with something that we figured we'd talk about. And John, I guess I can let you go into this because you actually brought this up to me a couple weeks ago when we were talking.
No, I thought you were going to say that because I'm the old man and I have all the nostalgic stuff.
Well, that is, that'll be part of the reason why you can go first. But yeah, you brought up something, and I'll tell you the aftermath that you sparked over here in my world.
All right. Okay. Well, going back, one of my favorite classic games was the Ultima series by Origin Systems. And this game goes back to the early 80s, and it has a lot of iterations, Ultima 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 9. And every 2 or 3 years, they would release an Ultima. And if anybody knows what it is, they know what I'm talking about. Basically, it's a computer role-playing game, and a lot of the current role-playing game models come after and model themselves after the Ultima series, which was really ingenious. A lot of the idea of like game shards and that all came from Ultima. I can honestly say I have played every single one of them, and they're so immersive, especially back in the day. They were really clever. The good news is it's not gone. Ultima itself was sold to EA, and EA has a habit of destroying franchises. I think everybody would agree with that.
Yeah.
Even though they're trying to reinvigorate the Ultima series, they've announced that they're going to do a game called Ultima Forever. And when I first heard this, I got excited, I have to admit. It's going to be a cross-platform between PC and your tablet and iPhone and iPad. I've seen some screenshots. It's really dumbed down. It's really nothing more than the name Ultima, the cities and the towns and the characters of Ultima, but it's nothing like the original Ultima at all. It's a modern take, so that leaves the Ultima fan kind of disappointed. Dinky, you were a huge fan of the Ultima Online experience.
Yeah, and which is what's weird because I've never played any of the older ones. So it's really strange because you played all the older ones and I know almost nothing about them. I don't know, did you play any of the Ultima Online?
I think I must have bought 5 different versions of the Ultima Online box. I bought this one, that one. There was so many different versions of it. And I would play it for a couple of months, and then but that's just me. Ultima is probably the only game that kept my interest enough that I can actually complete it all the way. Like I would actually want to complete it. Ultima Online is a never-ending game. You just keep playing it and playing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more like well, you can describe it.
It's the sole reason that I stay away from MMORPGs now. Which, I mean, out of all the games I've ever played in my life, I can guarantee that I've put the most time into Ultima Online. I mean, I can't say for sure because I love so many different games, but it's definitely up there with some of the best moments I've ever had playing games.
Wow.
And I don't even know where to start with this game. I think I was graduating high school, and my buddy, Steve, always wanted me to play Ultima. And I was like, I'm going away to college, I'm not going to have time for that or anything. So I didn't play it. And he nagged me big time for a year straight. And then like sophomore year came and I figured, all right, it was like over a summer. So I figured I'd try it out. And man, what a awesome and horrible mistake at the same time. Because I mean, we would play and it's really weird because for people who haven't played Ultima Online, I mean, I think they were one of the games that kind of coined the MMORPG name, right?
It was the first MMORPG. I mean, there were no games like it prior. It's the one that started it all. It was
and it's weird
1997, I think it was.
It's still going on. I mean, there's still people playing. So back then, I didn't know what to expect at all. And I remember I would first make a character, and I was walking around, and it's completely online. So there are 2 worlds. One is where it's just PvE, where it's just like you're safe. You don't have to worry about PvP or any other players killing you.
That's the world I play in.
Yeah, and then there's the other world where it's all PvP, and if you see somebody, you can pretty much kill them anywhere they are. Which, obviously, I didn't even know the difference between the two back then. And I was walking around, and this guy came up to me, and he saw him wearing my, like, cloth armor or whatever, I forget what it was. And he comes up, and he says, hey, I have some armor that you can have. And I thought this guy was the nicest guy in the world. I really did. I had no idea. It was like he jumped into this game.
Right.
And you could just, I mean, I could have run into an asshole. Right. Or I run into this guy, and I thought he was the nicest dude in the world. He gave me all this stuff. And then, like, a week later, I realized that it was horrible stuff. But at the time, it looked good. Yeah. So, I mean, I would just go around, and my friend would show me some tricks, and I remember we went and fought, like, earth elementals and all that. But when the game really started getting fun is once you started accumulating a little bit of money, there were a few aspects of the game that I loved, and mainly the really addicting parts. And the first one would be that you could own an actual plot of land in the game,
Right.
which
Real
I don't.
estate.
Yeah, I don't know many other games that actually you own a portion of the land and you could build a house on it and you could store all your stuff in there. And it's one of the main things that makes people not want to quit, because you accumulate all this stuff over all these years and you don't want to lose it, you know.
Right. Right.
So I remember that being an issue. But then I got into PvPing, and man, was it fun. The first thing I could say is during Ultima Online is when the name Dinky Dana was spawned.
Oh, was that your avatar's name?
I'm not my first one. Yeah, a little bit later. I don't know. I never did a YouTube video about this, but Dinky Dana, I think it was, yeah, sophomore year, and the dorms up at college were in the shape of an L, and one half was the guys' half and the other half was the girls' half. So I always went over to my friend's place, and I had to cut through the girls' half of the hallway, and there was always this like dry erase board on her door, and it always said, Dinky Dana, you think she's quiet, but she's not. She's hot. And I mean, it started from that. We never knew who she was. And then one day I was just hanging out with my buddy, and he was like, yeah, make your character named Dinky Dana. And man, people hated it. People did not want to get beat by someone named Dinky Dana.
So wait, did no one ever found out who Dinky Dana the original was?
No, we still do not know what she looks like.
She's like an enigma.
Yeah, and I mean, we walked by and the doors would be open. We just never saw who she was. We tried. Yeah, so it's probably better that I don't know. But
wow. That's an awesome story.
Yeah, and then the name came from that, and I was just goofing around. I mean, I never thought I'd even be putting up YouTube videos or anything, you know?
Yeah.
So my buddy was playing, and we decided that you could use the same character names on both your characters back then. So we decided that he would also make a character named Dinky Dana. And we dressed him in this black robe that you could all wear, and we looked identical with the exact same names and everything. So I built up my character with this skill where if you hit them, like if I hit somebody with the skill, if they ran 5 steps, they would take like 80 damage. It was like 50% of your life.
Hmm.
So I would go up and I'd hit someone with poison, and then I'd hit them with this spell and they'd run away. So they would learn pretty quick that they can't run away from me. So they'd try and stand still to fight me.
All right.
So what I would do is I had my buddy make the exact opposite character, where if you stood still against him, he's going to kill you in like 3 hits. So what I did is I would run up and I would let them hit me like 3 or 4 times. So they thought they were going to kill me. And I would run out of the screen really fast. But then my friend would run in like up next to me and I'd split off to the side.
Are you kidding me?
I'm dead serious. And people would not know the difference. So they would see me and they thought, oh no, if this guy hits me, I can't run away.
Who plays games like that?
It was so much fun. And then they would come up and they would stand still and my buddy would just beat on them and crush them.
It's like a crazy Cyrano de Bergerac story. Are you kidding me?
Oh, dude, we did stuff like that all the time. And then the other thing too,
I don't play games with you. I won't play anything with you.
My buddy made a character named Magilla Gorilla.
Oh no.
And he went around and he was like a trash talker. He was real bad.
Magilla Gorilla, the trash talker.
Yeah, and he would run around and he would kill people, and when they die, you know, their corpse is still there, and what happens is you can insure your armor so you don't actually lose it unless you forgot to pay the insurance or something. But so a lot of times they have to come back to their corpse to get, you know, the regents and stuff used to cast spells.
Right.
And my friend would run around on Magilla Gorilla and he would kill somebody and he would just drop a banana on their corpse.
His calling card?
Yeah, a calling card. Sometimes he'd put it in the corpse. Sometimes he'd put it
in the corpse.
Yeah. Sometimes, I mean, it would be awesome. And then if he kept killing somebody, if he really wanted to make someone mad, he would load like 20 or 30 of them into their bag, into their corpse. So when the person comes back, they get all their items back, but it's covered with bananas. I was just talking to him like 2 weeks ago because it was his birthday. We were out and I never knew this, but he comes up to me and he says, you know where I got all those bananas? I was like, actually, I never really thought about that. Where did you get them all? He said he used to go and farm gorillas to get bananas. Like that's how much he liked laying bananas on people's corpses.
Oh my goodness. You have just destroyed a childhood hero cartoon for me. Magilla Gorilla. Oh no.
Oh yeah, it was funny.
I
And
grew
then
up with Magilla Gorilla. I see the character doing these things when you tell me the story, and it just doesn't work in my head. It's just so
yeah,
wrong. It's a
that's my
purple gorilla in shorts and a top hat and a bowler. Oh, God damn.
that's my buddy Steve for you.
Oy.
And then like, did you know about champ spawns? Champ
I'm
spawns
afraid.
were where you would have two guilds. Like basically, we went over to this one shard and they would not let us in the guild
How dare
because
they?
it was just me and my friend Steve, and they would not let us in, and we really wanted to be in a guild because we had never been in one.
No bananas allowed, huh?
And no, I mean, we found out that what we had to do basically is kill them as much as possible so they got annoyed to let us in.
Oh, that's a good plan.
And yeah, I remember they were doing a champ spawn, and basically what it is one guild will start doing a champ spawn, and you have to kill 10 levels worth of enemies, and then the champion pops up, and when you
Right.
kill the champion, then you get the rewards, the power scrolls, which let you skill your character up more.
Oy, oy, oy.
So we would run down right before they were about to finish a champ spawn, and we would kill them, and then kill the champ, and take all the reward with none of the effort.
Right.
Which is basically that's what it was all about. I mean, that's
Right.
why you had guilds, because they would war. We went down one time, and I mean, we must have killed them, I don't even know how many times in a row. And they got so mad, and the guild leader actually came up to us and said, all right, well, we can let you guys in now. And I remember going into the Ventrilo chat, and the one guy, his name was Bane. He says, who the F let Dinky in the guild? And he screamed so loud, and I was like, hey, what's up, Bane? And then we ended up talking, and like, I mean, I talked to him a lot in Ultima. He my buddy still talks to him on the phone every now and then, like they've met up and stuff.
That's cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the beauty of those kind of games.
Yeah, and then the other thing was like they had a marketplace, so you could buy and sell. It actually had an economy that was, actually it
Yeah.
balanced itself out pretty well, and I haven't really seen any other games really get that marketplace quite right like that.
Ultima Online laid all the groundwork. I mean, there's actually an interesting story about the game developer Richard Garriott. He's the guy that made all the Ultima series. In fact, he has an in-game character. He's Lord British, the king of the whole realm of Ultima.
Yeah.
And when I heard a story where he would become like a moderator. He would go into the game. No one would know it would be him, and he would just look and observe to see how people were playing the game. And he saw this one guy that would go up to someone and kill them, like a really cheaty way, not a good way. So he would warn him and say, I'm the moderator, I'm Lord British, you can't do that. And the guy's like, all right, no problem. 5 seconds later, the guy would do it again. He'd go up to him, and say, listen, I warned you twice. You do it again, you're going to be blocked from the game. He's like, no problem, no problem. No sooner does he do it, he does it again. So he goes, that's it. You're going to be banned. I'm not going to have it. So he tells him, well, before I do, I want to know, why would you do that after I told you 3 times? And he's like, well, this world is supposed to be an open world. I'm a bad guy. I want to do bad guy things.
Yeah.
And that made the developer think, Richard Garriott was like, huh. So there's more to it. So he's like trying to control the game, but it's not a game that you really can control. If you're going to let the dogs run wild, you got to let them run wild. And that changed the whole direction that they were going with this game. And it let people have PvP and all that other stuff, which was never really part of the game experience, and not the way that they wanted it in the beginning. So it's amazing.
And that's one of the best features of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, that was why it was fun, because if you could outsmart an opponent, I mean, you could do it in a good way, a bad way. You could be more intelligent. You could be more sneaky. You could do anything you want.
Right.
And that's why it was fun.
The good news is, I mean, I mentioned that EA has the rights to the Ultima name, but Richard Garriott, in all his wisdom, when he sold to EA, he kept the rights for the name Lord British. He is now creating his own version of it's sort of like a spin-off, or what does he call it? He calls it the spiritual successor,
yeah.
Right, of Ultima Online. And it's called Shroud of the Avatar. And it's actually in works now. They just did a huge Kickstarter, and they were looking for $1 million, and they ended up getting $2 million. And they're very open to listening to feedback. If you go to shroudoftheavatar.com, you see they put up weekly updates. They have roundtables and discuss what they're doing in the game, and they film it and let us watch it. And if you got into the Kickstarter, did you ever get into it, Dink? Did you put any money?
When did you tell me about this? Like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah. Did you ever put any money in there?
Yeah, within one day, me, my cousin, my friend Steve, my friend Rob, my buddy Jeremy, and one other person, my cousin's friend, all paid the 40. I
Wow.
mentioned it, and it like they all just instantly bought it. There was no question at all. I was like, "There's gonna be a new Ultima, you gotta buy it."
So now you're going to have a free digital version of this game because you made that donation.
Yeah, and the reason I did it, well, I mean, I would have done it anyways, but I don't know how long it's gonna last. This one, they say that you have the free digital version, and then you also get access to the beta, which they
Yeah.
say is supposed to be in maybe November, December of this year, and then the game should be out at the end of next year.
Right.
So I didn't want to mess with it. I didn't know if they'd cut off that beta access, so we all got it right away.
Right.
And I liked how they had a $10 contribution, and it was just your guilt. What was it? A guilt trip?
Yeah. If you ever pirated any of the old Ultimas, this is your way to get out of the guilt trip that you have, and
I wasn't even thinking
redeem yourself.
I wasn't even thinking pirating or anything. I was just thinking like, I mean, yeah, we did.
I think it specifically stated if you ever pirated any Ultima game, this is your way to say you're sorry and make a $10 contribution. Well,
Yeah.
see, back in the day when I was playing it on the Commodore 64. Ultima was probably the only game that I actually didn't want to pirate. And back then, that's what you did. You pirated those games. It
Oh
was
yeah,
so easy
Commodore
to pirate.
64. Yeah, for sure.
They were built to be pirated. But they would come with a cloth map and usually a little trinket or a toy inside. And I wanted that. And I loved the books and the art. The packaging was so fantastic. And they would put so many goodies in there that you didn't want to, just copy discs. You wanted to have the cloth map to hang on the wall. You wanted all the books and the art. In fact, Dinky, I guess you never really saw any of the art on there besides the Ultima boxes. Did you ever look at any of the artwork on the covers of the old Ultimas?
On the old ones, no, I never even. I mean, I wish I had because I played all those old consoles, but I just never played any of the old Ultimas.
Ultima 5 is my favorite box cover. It's a fantastic picture. It's drawn by a guy named Dennis Lubay. He did all the art. He did all the inside books, everything. Dennis Lubay lives in Austin. I got a chance to contact Dennis 2000, I'm going to say 2003, 4, and
Yeah.
I was talking to him, and he's such a cool guy. And I said, hey, I played D&D. He's like, of course, I played D&D. I said, would you be interested in can I commission you to actually draw a picture of my character? We talked about it, and sure enough, he did a digital version
That's
drawn
awesome.
of my D&D character. It's crazy.
Do you still have it?
Of course. Yeah.
I'm looking at the cover. Is it the one with the it's like three
Yes.
three
the Shadow
like-
Lords.
Yeah.
The Shadow Lords. Yeah. It's just a bad ass cover. I love that cover.
It is. Yeah, that's cool. I want to see this character of yours. That's awesome that he would do that.
Yep. I would do that to a lot of people. I would, my like D&D books, all my monster manuals and stuff. I look up the artists if they're still around, if they're not doing anything, and say, hey, I want to hire you. Would you draw something? They usually do. They're very willing to do stuff like that. So it's cool. I actually got another guy who used to do all the monsters in the Fiend Folio and the Deities and Demigods book. Jeff D also worked on Ultima of all things. He was like an art director, I think, for Ultima 6 or 7. I forget which one. And I asked him also, and actually Dennis Lubet and Jeff D are friends, so I kind of connected with all of them. And he made me a water painting of my character. So
That is awesome, man.
and that's a big one. That's a nice big picture. So
How big is it?
I want to say it's like 2.5 feet tall by maybe 1.5 feet wide. It's an actual
that's cool.
watercoloring.
Get your HD camera going, man.
Yeah, I know.
You can walk right up to it and start talking
I know. I
with
got
your
some-
microphone and everything.
I got so much junk in my house.
Let's get a
Seriously.
tour.
Dude, you don't know what I've got in my house that I could film.
I know, that's why I want to see it.
All right, I promise I'll get some stuff on there for you with the HD camera. Cool.
Yeah, we'll at least post a couple of them up on the site.
So we're both in agreement that we're all excited about Shroud of the Avatar, which is the new Ultima successor, even though they're not using the name Ultima. But
Yeah, which worked out perfectly.
yeah,
because,
even better.
Kyosho, I mean, that was a perfect question to ask because I mean,
Mhm.
Ultima Online is. I mean, it's different because I can't even compare this game to a Zelda or a Mario. It's
Yeah.
a totally different experience, and I've never had anything like it, and I don't know if I will. But I did see in the Shroud of the Avatar, they are going to have they're gonna have a lot of this. It seems like a lot of the same features because, first of all, what was nice about these games is they don't have any character templates. Basically, you know a lot of the games now you get an RPG and you have to pick from a class,
Yep,
and then you can
true.
slightly modify that class. Where in Ultima, it was, I mean, you could have a character. I mean, I had a tailor where that's all they did. They were a tailor and they would craft armor, and that was all they did. You could have a fisherman. You could have, I mean, you could mix and match any of your characters. You would have
Gorilla
lumber.
farmer, right? Gorilla farmer.
Yeah, guerrilla farmer. I mean, you could have like certain things like lumberjacking would make your a character actually swing harder. You know, you would deal more damage. And there were
Right.
just all these weird combinations that you could use.
Yeah.
And it would seriously make for some really unique character templates that you would build, especially if you're in a guild, because you don't have a whole bunch of the same characters running around. You can customize a character. I remember my friend, you know how we said we used to go down and steal those scrolls? We'd try and kill them right before the end and then kill the champ.
Yes.
Well, he decided one day that he was going to make a thief, and instead of killing them at the end, he would wait until they got the reward, and then he would steal it out of their bag and get out of
Pickpocket
there.
them.
Yeah. So I
That's
mean,
what was great about this game. It really let you do whatever you wanted to do within,
Yeah.
reasons
was-
to expect. Yeah.
I was reading that they may have like separate, like if you'd have to pick your character to either be PvM or PvE against enemies and monsters, or PvP. And if you were in the one world, you couldn't interact with the other world. So I'm
Mhm.
wondering if they're going to do that. I'm hoping that they still keep it how it was in Ultima, because it was nice. People just knew if you didn't want to fight against other players, you don't go there. And that's what
Well-
so many people complain about today. They say, I don't want anyone attacking me. And I'm like,
Right. Right.
well, if you don't want to, then you don't go there, you know?
Now I know you're all about playing the online experience with your friends and all that. And,
Yeah.
and me, I'm more of the loner kind of character. I'd rather play alone sometimes and just not be bothered with someone else having to do something and run off, and I have to do a quest here with this guy.
Yeah.
So I like to play solo. I'm a solo player. This game will allow you to do either or. You don't have to be online to play a solo game. You could just install the game and just play it. No internet connection necessary if you want to play a solo game, which I think is great. It's awesome.
Yeah,
Or
and
you can play the
it's
multiple. Yeah.
it's just as addictive that way too.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
it was so weird because there were so many things that you could do. I mean, I would spend hours just going out and mining ore to craft things, or I'd go and farm monsters for a long time, or they'd have little quests where you had to go and collect items and beat certain bosses and things. I mean, it really had everything.
Right. Well, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, yeah, they have all that in games today. Oh, we have that in Warcraft. Oh, we have that in whatever you name it. I guarantee you, I know Lord British, I know the developer. He is going to come up with some really different stuff for this game. Completely different. Obviously, you're going to have the mainstays that we all know and love, but there are going to be some tweaks that are going to be so different. He's such a creative guy. This guy has gone into outer space. He took the money from EA and he bought
I did not know that.
he bought a ticket on the Russian Soyuz to go to the International Space Station. If you go to YouTube and type in Richard Garriott, he's in space talking to you, doing experiments, because honestly, his dad was an astronaut and he now went to space. That's the only time in American history there's been a father-son astronaut in space. And he's one
Wow.
of those guys. Yeah. I mean, he's such a brilliant, accomplished, amazing character. Anyway, he's just great, and I applaud that he's back into doing fantasy games. He did a bunch of other games too. I don't know. Do you remember Tabula Rasa?
No, I've heard of it, but I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, that one didn't work out so good for him. But that was like his one time that it didn't work out so well. But that was him. Originally, he worked with Cryptic Studios, with City of Heroes and NC Soft. In fact, he had a lawsuit against NC Soft and won. Got a bunch of money from them. Sold Ultima to EA. Got a bunch of money from them. So that's how he goes into space.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's just bizarre. Almost.
And now he just raised $2 million in a Kickstarter, which is awesome.
Yeah,
I-
and it is one of those things where you worry because it's a sequel to a game that I loved so much, and you love the original one so much too.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where the more you read about him and the more you hear about him, it
Yeah.
seems like he's gonna keep those old ideas, those
Yes.
ideas that he, a lot of the games nowadays don't necessarily look for those things anymore. They kind of hand you stuff and hold your hand through games. So I'm hoping that he keeps a good concept going for this one.
Well, he doesn't have to answer to anybody else but himself and the fans. Where the last Ultima, EA was involved, and
Yeah.
it became a big mess. Ultima 9 was not probably what his vision was. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it, and I'm sure everybody else is.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe I mentioned it, and all of my friends had bought it within 24 hours.
That's awesome.
And I didn't expect them to buy it that fast because I mentioned it to a couple of them. And I mean, the only reason they bought it, some of them hadn't even played it. The only reason they bought it so quickly is because I talked about it all the time.
Right.
And I mean, it was like, I don't know, it was funny. Everybody bought it up right away. For my friend Steve, it was his birthday 2 weeks ago, so I got it for his birthday gift. And I told him at the dinner table when his girlfriend and his sister were just, man, they gave me like an evil eye, dude.
Never going to see him again.
They were like, oh, we're going to want to kill you. They were not excited about it. I was like, I'll do my best to not have them be addicted, but if it's good,
impossible.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
So yeah, what a great series.
Yep. All right. What a great question. Awesome.
Yeah.
So, what do you want to do now, buddy?
Well, I guess we could go through and pick a winner, huh?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Let's see who won this free giveaway that we're doing. It's $60 value US dollars, any game of their choice.
Okay, yeah, I have a couple notes up here. Let me pull up. I figure what we'll do is we'll use the random number generator.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, you don't want to cut out 631 little pieces of paper in a hat?
I told you I did that the first giveaway that I did.
Because you're a nut.
Yeah, and I got so many people, and it was fun. Yeah, and I cut up all those little pieces of paper. Like,
how many paper cuts did you get?
What was I thinking? I had like 700 people entered that thing.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, I cut them all up. I printed them out on Microsoft Word, and I put them all in a hat, and I drew a name out. It was pretty awesome.
Big hat. What was that, a 10-gallon cowboy hat?
No, it was probably like one of those same Steeler hats I used to always wear.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I got my Vectrex. I get like 1/3 of the comments are on there about the Steelers, whether it's good or bad.
Nice.
But all right, so yeah, I guess how should we do this? We'll just punch in the numbers. I think we have let me pull this over. Yeah, we've got 631.
Wow.
Entered.
Awesome.
So what we're gonna do, you can see it on my screen. You can't see it, John, but I copied all the names. John copied all the names off of the comments, and then I just took away the comment, put the name in here, so each one has one line, and we'll do a. So I already have it set up 1 to 631. Now the bad thing about this is there's no actual putting your hand into the hat. You know.
You could pretend, okay?
Okay. Well, let's pretend you're putting your hand into a hat.
Okay.
And you're going to pick, and when you say go, I'm going to click the button.
All right, I'm going to put my hand in the hat now. Ooh, that's
move it all around. Don't
I'm
be looking in there.
No, I'm wiggling it. Oh, it's a lot of paper. Ooh, okay. I've got one. I'm going to pull it out now. Are you ready? And okay, I got it. Here it is.
218.
218. That's what I got on my paper.
Okay, so we'll scroll down. We'll start getting slower as we get there. Who's it going to be?
218.
And now, just to tell anybody who didn't see the giveaway, this is for a $60 game. We did a video, and we're going to give away a $60 game of the winner's choice. So if you're the winner and you're listening or watching it on this YouTube video that I'll put up, just let us know what game you want. We'll go out and buy it, and we'll send it to you. So 218, Crossfade King.
Whoa, congratulations.
Yeah, I wonder what his comment was, but I deleted it out.
We'll have to go back to our originals and read it. Crossfade King, congratulations. You're the big winner.
Yep. So, yeah, if you're listening, we'll get in touch with you. We'll probably just leave you a message on YouTube where you left the comment. So, nice.
And I guess in case he's unavailable in jail or something terrible has happened to him, we'll have to do this again.
I don't know. You just want to do 3 right now just in case?
A runner-up just in case. Now, this second runner-up doesn't get anything unless...
The first one can't
take it for whatever reason. Okay. Let's do another one just for the heck of it.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. I'm reaching in again. Don't hit the button yet. Okay. All right. This one's definitely going to be a big time winner. Do it.
620.
Wow. At the end of the list.
Yeah, that's near the end.
Wow.
I gotta actually grab the cursor to get out of that one. All right. 620. Mike Valentine.
Ooh, I think that might have been one of mine. Mike Valentine.
Yeah, that was on your video because it's closer to the bottom. Yep.
Nice. Mike
Cool.
Valentine, you've won nothing.
Nothing yet. So, okay. Yeah, two's good, right?
You know, with a name like Mike Valentine, that's a cool name. It sounds like an assassin or a hitman. Maybe he'll take care of the first guy and
Yeah.
claim the prize.
I love doing giveaways, though.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Just seeing video responses and,
Yeah.
people leaving comments. You got a bunch of comments, people leaving their favorite games and all that.
I was so happy to go through them. And people were, giving me their 3 favorite games, all different types of systems. It was great to get into the minds of the people and see what they like. There were definitely some trends, which was awesome. Some arcade games, because, people know that I do arcade games, and I guess they're fans themselves. So it was fantastic. I loved seeing it.
See the Star Trek movie by any chance?
I didn't see it, but I've heard a lot of people talk about it, and I really am not an authority to talk about it, but what I have heard about it, it kind of annoys me. So I'm not too thrilled with the way the story went this time. I think it's kind of gratuitous, and I don't want to say much because I know it's still out there and people haven't seen it, but I wasn't happy with it.
Yeah, I'm not going to say too much about it either. And my dad was a huge Star Trek fan, and I just never really watched a ton of it. But going to see this movie and hearing my dad talk about it kind of sparked me to go back and watch some of the originals. So I'm going through some of the originals and starting from the very beginning. And it's always been a show that I knew I needed to watch more. But I saw some with my dad, but it's different watching them straight through, You
know what the best thing about the Star Trek franchise is? They always reflect whatever's going on in the world, like today. Like the older ones, they had the whales were dying, and that was a big thing then. And like whatever's happening, like now this latest one deals with terrorism. It's a reflection of what's happening in society today, and that's the one thing that I really, really enjoy about Star Trek.
Yeah, I don't know. I need to watch more of it.
Yeah,
I'm looking
if you think
forward to
about the original series, even when they first went out, in the first pilot episodes, they had this interracial crew. There was, all kinds of things going on in America at the time, and they just brought it together. And for the greater good of space exploration, they put this motley crew together. Really, really good stuff. Gene Roddenberry was a visionary. Hopefully, J.J. Abrams, picks up and takes off where he left off. But I understand why he does what he does. This last one left me a little high and dry.
What's the name of the villain from this one?
His first and last name kind of thing? That thing?
I know his last name's Cumberbatch.
Oh, you're talking about the actor.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, not the actual villain. I know who the villain is, but yeah, the actor in this. Now, have you ever heard of a show, like there's a version of Sherlock Holmes on Netflix?
Yes.
And he's in it. The
totally
villain.
Love that. Yeah, he's great. He's Sherlock.
Yeah, and then they also have The Hobbit, the guy who played The Hobbit. I heard he was going to be the villain in this, and I thought, he's awesome. Yeah. In both Sherlock Holmes and in the Star Trek, I thought he was really good.
Yeah. No,
so if anyone hasn't watched it, look up Sherlock Holmes. It's 6 episodes. They're each like an hour and a half, and man, it's really good.
No, Benedict Cumberbatch is what you're thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah, now he's a fantastic actor, and whatever I'm complaining about has nothing to do with his acting.
I know, that's what I figured.
Fantastic. No, his acting is fantastic. I'm complaining about the actual story and the plot and where J.J. Abrams went with it. But now he's a fantastic, and you're thinking of the Hobbit guys as Martin Freeman, of course, 2 great actors, and the rest of the Star Trek crew is fantastic. Zachary Quinto as Spock, he's awesome as Spock, and Spock kicks ass in this episode of the movie franchise.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Yeah, what else you got?
Well, I wanted to mention quickly the deal with Nintendo and YouTube. Have you heard situation where Nintendo is upset about people like us making long play videos and making money off of their products? Have you heard about this?
A little bit. You mentioned it to me. Now, I didn't read up much on it.
Well, they have a problem with the long play videos, and what they've done now is YouTube has something called Content ID. A company just has to call YouTube up and say, listen, we have this product, this video game, and submit video footage of it. And then YouTube's computers somehow will scan all their videos throughout the day and the night and find if there's a match. And you don't know how long, if it's 10 minutes of a video or maybe half an hour of a video or even less. We don't know. If they find a match, then they automatically say this belongs to, in this case, Nintendo. And they will put an ad in the beginning of the video, of your video, and at the end of your video and you won't make any money off of it monetized, and it goes to Nintendo, rather than Nintendo saying, this is our property, you're copyright infringing, and we're going to take it down, and you're going to get a strike against you. Instead, they're going to leave your video up there and consider you a fan. And as a fan, you made this video, but we're going to make the money off of any advertising. So some people have a problem with that. Some people like, well, it makes sense. If Nintendo was going to take down people's videos, then I would rather have this. But
Yeah.
it seems that they're only interested in like very current games. If you put up a video of an old Nintendo game, they're not really going to have a problem with it. It's just that.
Well, that's like me using this capture device, putting up BioShock.
Yes. Yes.
And honestly, for me, I mean, I wouldn't really have a big problem with that, because what I would be doing, I mean, technically that I shouldn't be doing that,
Well,
I
the
mean,
argument
it's basically giving away the game for free, but it's just for watching. So you're missing the whole experience.
Yeah, exactly. Are you giving it away? You're just showing some scenes. You're showing how the game is visually played, but you're not experiencing the game.
Yeah. Now the other thing with that is too, they took down 2 of my videos before, the Demon Souls review, which I was mad about, because I put that up. I imported the game like 9 months before it came out, and I think when they took that video down, it already had like 60,000 views or something.
Right.
And they took it down, and I mean that was back when I first started YouTube, so I kind of panicked, and it was I didn't want to mess with it, so I was like, okay, whatever.
You didn't fight it.
Yeah, and then later on I did a review of Heavy Rain, and they tried to do the same thing. It was Sony. I looked up some stuff with fair use law and stuff, and I wrote a complaint to them, and the first time they said, too bad. And then the second time I wrote it again, they said, okay, well, yeah, you're allowed to use it, and they let it stay up.
Really?
Yeah, so I'm wondering, because, I mean, with this BioShock Infinite, the main reason I'm capturing it is so I can do a review or use footage in the future. And I just have the footage, so I'm putting it on YouTube. A lot of the times I know they have issues if you don't have any commentary over it. If you have commentary, if you're talking the whole time, then there's different rollings on it.
Yeah, that's the whole gray area. It's the fair use doctrine is kind of a gray thing, and it's up for interpretation.
Yeah.
It's okay if it's educational, and you can argue, yeah, it's educational, but that usually fails when it comes to video games. Or you're doing a parody, if you're parodying it, which we're not doing that. It's not a parody. Or if it's a commentary. But the problem with commentary is usually it's only a snippet. Here's the game and here's my comments on this game. Whatever we're talking about, the graphics, here's an example of 5 seconds of the graphics. You don't need to show 35 minutes of the game to comment on it. And that's where they get you most of the time. It's commentary, yes, but you're showing the whole video. It's superfluous. You don't need to show the whole video to do a commentary on certain aspects of it.
Yeah.
And that's where they come back and take you down with the fair use.
See, and I don't really have a problem with that either. I mean, if they want to put an ad on there, I mean, it's not that big of a deal to me, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see, I mean, I don't know, maybe there are people on here who make a whole bunch of money by doing a whole bunch of Let's Play videos, which I know there are.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I could see if you're doing commentary over it, you have a little bit more leeway on it. But, I mean, if it's just straight footage, they should definitely be able to do that.
Right. Well, what about sharing it? If you're going to put 2 ads, beginning and end, why not the worker who put up all the work and time to do it gets 1 ad? If someone listens and watches the entire video, put him on the end, and then Nintendo will get the first one. That seems kind of fair.
Yeah, they could definitely work something out with it. And I'm looking forward to being able to actually put up on my website. I'm going to start cataloging my own walkthroughs of all the games.
Nice.
So I'm looking forward to doing that, because I mean I love like going back and watching them. I wish I had more footage from different games that I'd played. The Ultima and Halo games, and I play co-op with my cousin all the time. I wish I had all those recorded and had the footage. So now I'm going to start putting all them up on my website, and people can go and watch them, or mainly I'll go and watch them. you know? Yeah, I switched up the whole site. I got all kinds of, changed the entire format of it, and it's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, the website looks good. You've done some changes recently. I've checked it out. You can now, you can add your personal inventory of what you have in your collection.
Yeah, that's going to be coming real soon. So far on there, I have... it's kind of where people can go on, create an account, and then they can list they could list however many games they want. Their favorite games, top 100 you can go up to. Most people don't actually put 100 on there. And I made it so it's nice, like a quick drag and drop, so you can really put them in there and change the order if you actually want to categorize your top 100. And then also, what I've been kind of having fun with is I put in where people can put in their top 25 favorite video game songs and link them to YouTube so that, you know, people can listen to them. And I've been going through the people's profiles and like finding some really cool songs that I like. Someone put up a Katamari Damacy song. And I just started listening to it, and I couldn't stop listening to it. So, I mean, it's cool. I'm going to set it up so that on the homepage, you'll always see the top 10 most recently uploaded favorite video game songs and favorite games. So, I'm going to try and have it kind of update so, you know, I can see what games are popular, what people are liking, have people start seeing what other games people like. And kind of along the lines where if you have the same top 10 games as somebody else, it's going to recommend a game that you should also like. So
well, I can't wait to see those changes. That sounds awesome.
Everything is switched over. Everything's mobile now. So you can listen to the podcast. If you're on a phone, the screen will automatically adjust so that it looks right on your phone and you can listen to them right there. And then also the price guide I switched so that it's also mobile. You can use it on the phone. And then it was always a pain because I'd go out to a flea market and I'd want to find one game, but I'd have to wait for the whole list to load. So what I put on there is a little search feature where you can type in a phrase or a word from the game and then click search, and it'll only bring up games that have that phrase in it. So it's going to be a lot nicer when people are out. Hopefully, you know, it'll speed up the internet connection. You can look up games a lot faster.
Nice.
And then the walkthroughs are on there, and then you can upload pictures of your game room if you want, things like that, and it still has the store locator and all that, but people can go over and sign up and, you know, kind of a beta test almost, you know.
All right. Awesome. I think this is a wrap here. That's pretty cool. We covered a lot of bases. And is there anything else you want to mention there, Dinky?
No, that was pretty good. Yeah, we covered everything I wanted to talk about.
All right, great. So now, obviously, we want to hear more from our listeners. So if you can, we'd love to hear a video comment. You can email us MP3 files of questions and comments about the show directly to our Gmail account, which is hitresetradio@gmail.com. Or you can leave it on our Hit Reset Radio YouTube channel. And this podcast is actually going to be posted on the Hit Reset Radio YouTube channel in its entirety, so you can listen to it on YouTube as well as the regular website and iTunes.
I think that'll be good having it right on YouTube.
Yeah, give people a choice on how they want to hear this mess. Be part of the show. Yeah, be active. Love it. All right, Dinky, as always, a pleasure talking to you, brother. I'll be speaking to you throughout the week. And,
sounds good.
Have a great night, man.